Hey, this is Schuyler from themixingprocess.com, and in this video, we're going to divert our attention a little bit from the mixing topics, and we're going to discuss buying and shopping for in-ear monitors. This is an important piece of being an audio engineer and also a musician because you got to hear what you're doing, and you got to hear it accurately and well. So this is an important topic, and I remember when I bought my first pair of monitors, I really wish I had somebody explaining all of these different things to me so that I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was looking at, and I was confident that what I was buying was going to be the best for my application. So I want to provide that for you today. So let's get into it. First, what even are in-ear monitors? So in-ear monitors, let me pull up a picture here. These are all in-ear monitors. So they are basically just high quality earbuds, really. I mean, that's all they are, and they're very expensive a lot of times. So what's the point of them? So if you put them in your ears, you're able to monitor yourself playing. You're able to hear yourself and your band members and everything else. You're able to hear it in your ears. Now, most people know that before people started using these, they would use stage monitors. And the problems with these were they'd have all these monitors on stage. It created really loud stages, really loud rooms, lots of feedback issues, lots of hearing loss going on. It was a mess. Okay, a lot of people still use these, but it is difficult to control the environment, especially in really small rooms when there are monitors on stage. So people started using in-ear monitors to get rid of some of those issues. So when you stick it in your ears, you can have a significantly quieter mix in your ears because the room isn't so loud. You're not competing with so much. Also, it isolates you a lot. So even the noise that is out on stage, you can hear yourself really clearly, run it at a lower volume. It just works so much better. They're really nice, really helpful. So how do they work? So as you can tell from this site here, this is allclairaudio.com. This is where I bought mine. I actually have the Spire 6 driver here. I bought several years back. And what you'll notice on the site is there's kind of two categories. You can get universal fit in-ear monitors. You can also get customs. The difference between the two is that customs are actually molded specifically to your ear. So when I bought my pair several years back, I went to an audiologist. He filled my ear with silicone. It was really strange experience, but he filled that with silicone, it dried, it made a mold of my ear. I was able to send those molds into Allclair, and they were able to take that and make a custom molded monitor for me. Now, there's pros and cons to both of these. First off, these ones are way cheaper than customs. They're able to make them universal and just manufacture a bunch of them, kind of move on from there. These ones required them to be kind of handmade a lot of times because they're custom, obviously. So you can't mass produce these nearly as much. So these are a lot cheaper, but they don't seal as well. They're not as comfortable. They don't block out as much sound. So if you're wearing them for long periods of time, they can start to hurt your ears. They don't fit as well, and so the sound quality often isn't quite as good, things like that, but they are a lot cheaper, and that's why people often go for this option. These down here, they solve all those problems that the universal ones have. So because they're a custom mold to your ear, they block out all the sound. When I'm wearing mine, I cannot hear anything other than what's coming through them. It's amazing. So they block out that sound. There's nothing to compete with. The sound is crystal clear. It's amazing. So that's kind of the benefit of those, but they are way more expensive. So you just kind of got to balance all of that. So that's how they work. The second part of how they work that's really important to understand is you'll notice in the name under each of them, they have a number of drivers. So this one has 3, this one has 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 10, whatever. So That's important, but you may not know what that means if you're new to in-ear monitors. So a driver, think of it like a speaker. It's a little bit different just because of different technology, but if you have one driver in your ears, that one driver is going to be responsible for the entire frequency range. So your lows, your mids, and your highs, all in one driver. As soon as you introduce a second driver, that load is split. So it's just like a studio monitor that has a tweeter up top and then it has a big cone on the bottom. Tweeter takes the high frequencies, the cone takes the low frequencies on the bottom, and it splits the work between the two. As soon as you add a third driver, it splits it again. So every time you add drivers, it splits that workload. This is helpful because then all of those drivers aren't having to work as hard. You can actually push them harder, get more volume out of them, and they aren't having to work as hard because they are only responsible for a certain amount of frequency instead of covering the whole spectrum. So it increases your headroom, basically. The more you add, the more headroom you have. Also, the more clear your sound is going to be because they aren't getting pushed as hard. So the more drivers you get, kind of the better it is in that sense. So now that you understand how they work and what they're for, let's talk about how to pick the right ones for you. You got a pile of them in here. How do we know which ones are going to be the best? So first off, the price range on these is ridiculous. So these ones are about $350, which is still kind of a lot for a pair of earbuds, really. This one is almost $3,000 on the other hand. So there is a huge price difference between all of these, and you got to figure out what is going to fit in your budget. You don't want to overextend yourself on this. The second thing is, what is your application? So if we look at these, this is the one that I got, and I'll just open it up here. So Spire 6 driver, got 6 drivers in it. If I look at this frequency response chart, you can see the highs and the lows are actually boosted. And you can see it's ideal for vocal, bass, guitar, drums, keys, all of these instruments. So it's designed for an instrumentalist. If I go to this one over here, this one has only 3 drivers in it, but the frequency response is very different. It's very flat, and it's designed for, not as many of these instruments, but it's designed for front of house and studio, video editing, all of these different things that require an accurate reference source. So just because there's more drivers in it, like this one, doesn't necessarily mean it's better. So when I bought these, I was playing guitar every night all the time. So I needed something that was going to be high quality, that was designed for what I was doing. But now I actually mix front of house way more than I play guitar. And so if I were going to buy a pair now, I probably wouldn't buy these, even though there are 3 more drivers in this pair than there are in this pair. I would probably get something like this that has a flat frequency response. It's designed for what I'm doing. So that's what's really important. Pick something that's in your budget, that fits in your budget, that you can afford, and then go find what your application is and design it specifically around that. So a lot of times if you answer those 2 questions, you can narrow it down to 1 or 2 monitors, and then your budget pretty much makes that decision for you. So it's a pretty simple process once you understand how it works, but there's a few details in here that can get you messed up and confused if you don't know what you're looking at. So hopefully this was helpful for you, just kind of diving through this, explaining it real quick. Like I said, when I was walking through this the first time, I really wish somebody was there to kind of teach me all of these things right off the bat. But now you have that resource. Now you can go have confidence in your decision and your purchase, get something that'll work really well for you. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Like I always say, if you're a audio engineer or some kind of musician who mixes sometimes or something like that, and you're trying to learn the process of mixing audio, I have on my website, themixingprocess.com, a simple guide, a 7-step mix that will walk you through the 7 steps that I take in every single mix. It'll give you a systematic process of doing your gain structure, EQs, compression, effects, balancing, faders, all of those different things. It'll give you a systematic approach to that. So you feel like you have a plan, you can be confident, and you'll get consistent results with that. I'd encourage you to go check that out on my website, themixingprocess.com. I think it'll be really helpful for you. But for now, thanks for watching this video. Go check that guide out, download it completely for free. We'll see you next time.